course, please welcome our speakers, General Manager Indonesia, the Trade Desk, Purnomo Kristanto. Can we have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Hello, and loving the fun facts right there. And also from the head of marketing manager, as head of marketing manager PT Himalaya Wellness Indonesia, please welcome Anita Iva Ali. And a round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Here are your distinguished speakers. So, once again, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity for having us here today. So, the world after COVID-19 is unlikely to return to the world that we used to have. This is especially true of the digital economy that impacted the consumer behavior. When it comes to retail media, one thing for sure, the consumer has shifted from offline to online during the pandemic and its days. So now the question is, how do we leverage this and how do we become more innovative? Today we have our expert, Pak Purnomo here from Indonesia Trade Desk, and Ibu Anita from the head of marketing from Himalaya. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So the first question I'm going to ask you, Purnomo, can you share the importance of retail media in the digital campaign?
Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity. It's great to be here. So thank you for the questions, Bu Beverly. I think retail media is pretty nascent in Indonesia right now. If you look at retail media still evolving, I think thanks to COVID, I think it brings revelations that we can all do online. And the Trade Desk, especially we are pioneering the way how we look at retail media. We work closely with our partner, Tokopedia and Blibli, for example. And I think the power of using the retail audience, the high-value audience, and how we can actually bring those power to brand so that the brand can reach out to the right audience with the right moment, with the right messaging, I think will bring more impact. So that's where we see the power of retail media. And I feel like the more and more we discuss about retail media, I think the more and more we can get more insight and also optimize it further. So right now, we help brands, clients to make sure how they can run more effective digital marketing. But the next step is how we can actually build the first-party data based on the campaign that they run.
So how do we find the right audience? When you're helping brands for the campaign, how do you find the right audience, and then what are the channels available out there in the digital landscape?
Yes, perfect questions. So there are multiple ways of working with brand, for example, with Bu Anita. When we look at the right audience, we need to understand what kind of products. And when we look at the retail, what kind of behavior they have a propensity towards that. So for example, your skincare. So if you look at our partner, what kind of retail segments that they have. Maybe this is a segment where they buy more skincare or maybe buy more grocery as a target. So we can start from there. And then we see how those audience engage with the communication on the ads. And from there, how we can optimize it further towards efficiency and achieve the objective.
Okay, thank you, Pak Purnomo, for the insight. So next I'm going to ask Ibu Anita. So how's your consumer in beauty and wellness, the consumer of Himalayan, behavior has shifted in Ramadan, especially post-pandemic?
Okay, thank you, Bu Beverly, actually, in terms of the questions. So I think when we're talking about Ramadan this year, yeah, I can say this is like become the spectacular for them because like this year is like more on the celebrating that the freedoms about the celebrating about the Ramadan because like there is no spillover about the pandemic anymore, right? So I think that the consumers will be bring back whatever the habituals when talking about Ramadan. So let's say they will meet with their friends and then like bukber and then like silaturahmi with the families. I think that's one of the key about the Ramadan this year, yeah. And I can say that it can be like the great shopping season for this year. When we're talking about the skincare category, I think this is like one of the category, it will be like riding the momentum of this Ramadan. I can see that because of the shifting of the Ramadan of the behaviors, that people want to see meet each others, like bukber, silaturahmi. They want to be like still good looking, okay? They want still like look beautiful. Yeah, I think that's can be like the skincare part of the Ramadan campaign itself. That's
So even last year, if we still remember, last year was COVID was pretty much like toned down, but overall the sales in the economy, I'm not talking about the macro economy, it wasn't really that good. Are you really confident that this year is going to be like it's going to be a brand new like amazing start after the pandemic?
Yeah, I think thanks to pandemic, actually making it like the e-commerce or whatever online actually rapidly growing. Because actually at that time we don't have any options because like so many limitations, so many restrictions. So make it like the people won't have like quote unquote don't have any option. They trying to have the experience with the online. But currently these years without any spillover with the COVID, but they will still have the options, right? They can go to the offline, but also the online. I can say there is like a decreasing in terms of the, let's say, the traffic on etc. But I do believe related with the skincare category having a huge opportunity for the futures, yeah. Because like when we're talking about skincare, actually the recommendation and the review is still number one. Okay, so that the using like the affiliates, using the retail media, actually what they have right now, and then like the features can be like instantly click button, and then more other impulsive buying. I can say that it will be like having a huge opportunity on the skincare.
Okay, so Bu Anita, so did you referring to that the massive growth in online shopping that happened during pandemic has stopped the growth significantly? Is that what you're trying to say?
Not stop growing. I can say maybe like decreasing, if I compare with the pandemic. But I'm pretty much sure the opportunity is still big, especially for skincare, because like the power of review and the recommendation still there, and then also like let's say one of the feature actually that the affiliate. That people I want to see that the review and then see how's that the result, something like that.
Feels convincing, right?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, for skincare actually that's very in terms of the online is very the influence is so big.
I see. Okay, thank you, Bu Anita. So back to Pak Purnomo. During Ramadan, the timing on people, where do people start consuming media have shifted. Usually people start consuming media when they wake up at 7, but during Ramadan, because they are preparing sahur, they start consuming the media and the content at 3 a.m. So how do you find what can bring something more valuable to brand and consumer looking at this fact during Ramadan?
Yeah, it's a great question, Spook. I think it's a public secret where because of this Ramadan, people tend to wake up earlier than usual. And while they're preparing sahur, they always consume media. So at their convenience. So some people watch the premium content on OTT, like video, or they listen to podcasts, or listen to more like a religious kind of content via audio. So I think the variety of channels will eventually enrich the experience for the consumers. And imagine if brands or clients can tap into the right moments where they are ready, receptive to listen some great creative ads, and hopefully the ads will be helpful for them. I think that will be so powerful. Now, when we talk about the omni-channels, I think we also believe that the power of brand performance, I think, will be critical. That's why at the Trade Desk we focus on the narrative on brand performance. So how actually we move from awareness to considerations, and consideration to influence their actions. So it can be purchase, can be a subscription, can be putting your email to show your interest. So there are so many actions there. I think that's the power of omni-channels, and then riding on the momentum on how they consume media, I think will help a brand as clients to get the best out of Ramadans, and also make sure that the consumers have a great experience, because the ads will eventually talk about how we can help the consumers to have more fruitful Ramadan.
So if I notice here, influence is the key. How do you convince the consumer to purchase something, to believe in the product. But when we're talking about the behavior of consumer, especially in consuming media during Ramadan, me from the media perspective, we know that the most sellable slot is during Maghrib. So that's when everybody is just waiting for the Maghrib. So when they sell the spot leading to Maghrib is very popular. So everybody just want to get that spot. So those who don't get it, what will be your advice in utilizing the media, I mean?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's no silver bullet answer to that kind of questions. I believe that my experience working with brands, I think consistency is key. I think some of the speakers talk about consistency. And I think when you want to reach out to your consumers, you want to make sure that the whole experience of your consumers is maintained well, right? So it's not always telling about the USP, but sometimes you also need to tell about why is it matter and why the consumers matter for the brand. So it's not only one-sided that I need you to buy my product, but it's also always take a step back and understand how I can make my consumer feel this Ramadan different. Right? What kind of a value that matter to them that I can bring through the communication. So that's the way how I see it. And of course, the spots before Maghrib or is a ngabuburit definitely is a hot spot. But if I look at this, is if you don't get it, it's fine. It's not the end of the world because you still own the experience, and there are so many moments during Ramadan that you can bring those kind of impactful message to your consumers.
So, Pak Murnomo, at Trade Desk, do you have any research like usually during puasa, during fasting, a lot of people are they consuming more media or is it the same as the regular months?
Yeah, I think we have a couple of research. I think we just launched our research with a third party for Ramadan. Every year we have our Ramadan Insight. If you look at the way how Ramadans, we believe that 55% of Indonesians actually spend time outside of the social media or user-generated content, right? So 55%. And if you look at Ramadans, definitely mobile dominate the way how they consume media and consume content. And if you look at the type of the content is focused on religious because during Ramadan, people who celebrate Ramadan, they want to get closer to the Creator. And I think it's the way how we actually want to tap. We know there's mobile, especially in Indonesia, it's mobile first, or mobile only country. And then of course we know that what kind of a media they will consume. Definitely it's the premium content via OTT, the audio, DOH, display. So basically the power of having a variety across their consumers a day in a life, I think would be critical for brands to take a look and how they can actually tap with the right message, with the right consumer. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Purnomo. So back to Bu Anita. So Bu Anita, how do you use Ramadan momentum to grow your sales and to keep your consumer in this case?
Okay, that's good questions because really related with marketing with the sales, right? So I think the first thing first, I think we need to know about the innovation about our ads first, right? Because like what I'm trying to talk in here is like we have to know about the target market first. So depend on the brand and depend on the category that you have it. So let's say Himalaya actually that's more on the skincare. So actually that's more on the target audience, actually that the Gen Z. So for the Gen Z, actually that the consumer behavior like towards more into the digitals, right? So I think the retail media, it can be like one of the tools of the solutions that we have it because this is related with the marketers. I think this is like the challenge on each marketers that always how we can get more efficient whatever that we already invested. What is the returns what we already invested? I think that's the big question that's coming from the company for the other function department because like the marketing is always like spending the money, right? Forever the sales actually like taking the money and then marketing is always like spending the money. So that's the challenge. So I think that retail media, it can become, because like the advantage of the retail media, it can be like more really targeted in terms of the segmentation of the target audience that we have it. So yeah, especially for the skincare, for the Gen Z, currently the personalization about the marketing actually is really there. We cannot going to the more on the massive media, but I think please take note, this is like not applicable to all the brands, not to all the category. Let's say if you're a brand or your category actually that's targeted more on the massive media, I think the massive media is still relevant for some particular brand. Yeah.
Okay, so last question to Pak Purnomo. As you mentioned that 90% of people are consuming the media and content through mobile phone. So how effective is the use of omni-channels in this case? This will be the last question.
Yeah, I think omni-channels, as Rajiv mentioned previously, I think omni-channel is all about closing the loop. So when we talk omni-channel, people think that, oh, variety of channels, so I'm doing omni-channels. So that's not completely true, the definition of omni-channel. So at The Trade Desk, I think we focus on the brand performance, as I mentioned. So how make sure that even though you are running a brand's campaign, but still drive performance. Now, the performance is not always about return on ad spend, but there's means many things, right? When we bring efficiency and effectiveness, it also means many metrics. And each brand has its own metrics and it has its own definitions on how to run efficient and effectiveness marketing campaign. I think that's the way how we define omni-channels, and I believe more and more brand will demand platforms or digital advertising to deliver that. And I think we are here to accept the challenge and making sure how we show the future of advertising where it's more targeted, more efficient, more effective, and you own your consumer experience fully.
Okay, thank you so much for the very fruitful discussion to Pak Purnomo and Ibu Anita. So ladies and gentlemen, we all agree that Ramadan is a special moment and people are willing to spend more. So this is an opportunity for brands and consumer to get into the retail media to get the more exposure for the brand. So that be all for the discussion today about unveiling consumer behavior during Ramadan. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much once again to all of our speakers and moderator. We'd like to kindly invite you to step in front of the tables for a photo op with this session's speakers. Thank you very much once again for the insights, the takeaways that you have provided for us all this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have another round of applause for your moderator, Ms. Beverly Gunawan, your speaker?